What's up, my lunatics? Welcome back to my channel. But if it's the first time, my name is Anastasia Luna, and welcome to you too. All right, today, the event of the month for me. Melissa Bonny is gonna give me an interview. I feel so happy and privileged, so thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, so let's dive right into that. So I um I did do a lot of reactions to your stuff, to your ad infinitum and stuff like this, and then I was trying to find any kind of any sort of information about you and your early years in English language on like Wikipedia and stuff like this. And there is
Uh-huh.
nothing. And I'm always interested in that kind of stuff because I feel like that's what made you who you are right now. So talk to me about your early years, where you grew up, what kind of family you grew up in, where you were born, and stuff like that.
So I grew up in Switzerland in a small village close to Montreux, Lausanne. It's always easier to say Montreux because people know it from the Montreux Jazz Festival,
Uh-huh,
but it
uh-huh.
was actually like 10 minutes away in a very small village. And yeah, I grew up in a very loving family with lots of activities. Like I was doing lots of sport, music.
Oh, what kind of sports?
Oh my God, I did so much. Mainly gymnastics for 10 years. Um,
No! Oh
did
my
you?
God.
Did you as
No,
well or?
I mean, I'm from Russia, so yes, I did a little bit, a little bit. I'm more into
Oh,
like ballet and opera and stuff like this, but this is
nice.
crazy. You see those tiny things, like it's so cool to just talk about that besides the music. So continue.
Yeah, yeah. I did judo, dance, volleyball, of course, music, a lot of music.
Uh-huh.
What did I do? I did so many activities like pottery or drawing. I mean, it was
That's a very
a
active
good childhood.
childhood. That does sound like an awesome childhood. I can't. Can you still do like a front? What is it? Front handspring or whatever? How you call
I
it?
can do
You
some
know.
stuff, but I
You
did.
you should do something in one of your videos. Oh my God, people gonna be like, "What?" Oh my God, you totally should do that. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have a little brother. I mean, little brother. He's like,
Uh,
yeah, but younger brother.
does
He
he do music too?
he did a bit of guitar. I think now he's more into like cars and stuff like that. Like he loves to repair, tune, and like
Oh, that's cool. I
was
mean, it's still very it's still under the umbrella of like something writing, singing, so creating something.
creating. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, you said you were studying music. So, did you study like mu music professionally, or if it was like a class here and there? How did that start?
I didn't think I would become a professional musician until very late, actually, because the idea of a creative profession was not really what we were pushed into with my brother and I from my family. So I was doing music. I was singing in the choir when I was little. Then I was doing music on my own or with some friends.
Uh-huh.
And then I think I don't know, when I was a young adult or old teenager,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I I started to take lessons, but private lessons, which is something that really helped me because I had a teacher who was into rock and metal too. So it's like, oh, I want to learn this, I want to learn that, and then she really guided me like through the basics and then the the techniques that I wanted to learn.
Okay, so was that your first introduction to rock music? How did you fall into metal? Because this is
Oh,
very specific niche category of music.
yeah. That's when I was actually 18, I think. That was pretty late.
Mhm. It's
My
not
boyfriend,
18, it's not late.
no, but for like, I hear so many musicians who were like, oh, well, I discovered metal when I was 7 years old, and I was like,
I mean, that was
uh,
me.
yeah, well, I was not listening to metal at that point. I was listening to Britney Spears, Shakira, and all
Hmm.
that. But boyfriend at the time showed me Nightwish, Within Temptation, Camelot, Delane. and so on. And then I really loved the genre, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to find my own favorite bands, because he had his own favorite bands, and I was like, I want to find some stuff that I like, and I found like the Kuna Chords, Stream of Passion, and all that.
Give me your three all-time favorite bands.
All-time favorite. Oh my God, it's difficult because it changes, because
That is
tastes
true. That is true.
evolve and all. But when I started music, the bands who really, really inspired me were Camelot, Delane, Within Temptation, probably Nightwish. And I mean, I still love to listen to these bands and to catch them live.
Okay. So your first band or your first music project, what that was?
My first band, because music project, I had some before, but nothing really serious. My first band was Even More, and was I joined them. They were already formed, and so that boyfriend at the time had a best friend who was guitar player in that band, and at some point they were looking for a singer, and I went to a rehearsal and I auditioned and I started with them.
Okay. How did you go about growls? How did you start learning growls, and how do because I'm classically trained. So I sang opera for 12
Yeah.
years. So but I growl now. So for me, I always had this misconception like I'm gonna hurt my voice. Oh my God, I can't do that. So how did you go about growls?
Oh, I watched so many videos and read a lot of stuff about it. At first, it was super tricky to just find a video that was explaining how to create the sound. So I went through so many videos and it was just not helping. And then I found that one girl who was explaining that you have to think that you're a teenager and your mom is like, go clean your room, and you're like, oh, you know. And she was explaining it like this, and somehow it clicked. Probably because I was a teenager who needed to clean her room.
Girl, me too.
Oh, and then I just, every time I could, I went to the rehearsal room by myself with some songs that I wanted to train, and I started with one word, then one sentence, breathing, one sentence, breathing, and then I build it this way. But I trained for a very long time on my own after understanding how to create the sound, so I could also give flavor to the sound after this.
Do you use fry scream?
Not really. I sometimes in the studio, but this is not a technique that I consider that I master. So I feel like I would have to train it a lot more to use it live safely.
Yeah, because you use the actual false chord. Yeah, it would be cool to hear you like really, really like Tatiana. But yeah, you got that down. So how at Infinitum was born?
It was supposed to be a solo project at the time because I was in Even More and in Rage of Light, and but I was like, I was feeling like I was making compromises with creativity because, like I said, Even More was created before my time with them. So there was already a direction and a dynamic. Rage of Light was also the project of John. He's a dear friend of mine, and he asked me to sing. At first, it was just like, oh, let's do an EP, and you just sing on my EP, and then it became a band. And all that was super cool, but still, I felt like I was not doing exactly what was right for me and right for my voice and my influences. Like, yeah.
I mean, it's very different from those bands. It's definitely very, very different. Yes. So who that continue? Sorry.
Oh no, I just want to say that at that point I decided to just write an EP, and then the EP became an album, and then I was investing a lot more time and energy into it and private money. So I thought, you know what? I kind of don't want it to be just a, hey, the album is out and then next. I really wanted to bring it to the stage, but I didn't want to have, the to be me and hired musicians. I really wanted to have a band
A
of
family.
people who care about the music. Yeah, exactly.
And how did you find them?
Nick was the first one, I believe. We toured together several times, and we became friends. And I don't know, it was somehow obvious that I would ask him.
Okay.
And Nick, he's one of those guys who can play any instrument. So literally, I came to him. I visited him when he was playing a show in Munich because I was there at the time. And I was like, hey, I have this project and I can send you some demos. And by the way, if you join, what would you play? And he's like, yeah, I think I want to play drums because it's his main instrument, like it's his first instrument. And then he was like, yeah, I have exactly the guy for guitars. And he suggested Adrian, whom I didn't know before.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had a first bass player, Jonas, whom I knew from a tour, and he had to leave for medical reasons, unfortunately. And then Corby was brought to the band by Adrian.
Did you have any other jobs ever in your life besides music?
Oh yeah, until very recently, actually, until 2020. No, until
No.
until 2019, I was working in an office. My job for a very long time was in the business school. I was
Oh, you're giving me hope right now.
no, I honestly, I tell you, I had to really kick my own ass to do what I love, because I was in this configuration where I had security, but I didn't have um
Passion,
fulfillment, passion, or
fulfillment.
something that was challenging me in the right way, because I had zero opportunity for creativity in my job. So I was
Hmm.
doing my job every day, and after my job and during the weekend, I was doing music. And at some point, it became too much. So it's at that point that I was like, okay, I have to create some sort of transition between my day job and my music so I can eventually become a full-time musician, but without, just jumping into it, and then there's no financial security.
And how did you create that transition? Because I feel like that's a question for a lot of musicians out there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I had 1 year where I had still a job, but I was working at the Hard Rock Cafe for a few months, so I could tell my, like, I'm available here, I'm not available there. I
Oh,
have
so
a
were you like bartending or
Oh yeah, I was doing I was doing a little bit of everything, hosting, bartending, shop, whatever. Because it was really like, okay, I have 6 months here. I did this, I did teaching, and playing in cover bands, whatever,
uh-huh.
while building everything else. So what really, really made a big difference for me was Patreon, because this is really by building this community that I could um, little by little leave the rest. Like I left the Hard Rock Cafe, then I left the teaching, and
Mm-hmm.
then I did more music. And now it's a combination of Patreon, recording, playing, and all.
As far as your Patreon, I actually talked to a couple of people, I think a
Mm-hmm.
couple of weeks ago on my live stream, and some of them actually subscribed to you, to your Patreon, and they were like, "Oh my God, we talk to her every day. She's so responsive." And I'm like, "She is very, very responsive." And I don't know how you do that because at this point you are a very well-known musician, very well-known singer. Literally, like everybody in my community knows you. So, so I'm sure you get a lot of DMs, a lot of messages, but even with me, you reply to me within like 24 hours. Even I don't do that. It's kind of
I
amazing how you stay on top of that stuff.
I try. I'm not always on top of everything I'm telling you, because that would be that would be a big lie. I very often feel a little bit overwhelmed. I try to reply to as many people as I can, but honestly now with the DMs in, like, on Instagram, on Facebook, and all that, I cannot. But with Patreon, I really, really try, because it's people who believe in what I do, in my bands, who
Mm-hmm.
come to shows. And like I said, it's a community that really allowed me to be a full-time musician. Without Patreon, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I'm super, super grateful for these people to be there. And also it's it's also so much fun, because it's not all about what I do. It's also now a group of friends who are going to shows together, chatting together, sharing some life stuff even.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, really enjoy being present and being part of this.
Yeah, I actually checked it out. I'm like, you have a lot of tears and you have a lot of stuff. I'm like, that's like a full-time job right there. So yeah, props to
Sometimes
you,
it is.
girl. Like that's a lot. So what do your parents do? Was your family a musical family, or you just the only one that decided I'm gonna be a rock star?
Ah, my parents, well, I actually, my dad was also working in an office. Now he retired, but so that was my role model for the safe path that I took
Mm-hmm.
the first part of my career or whatever
Life.
adult life.
Yeah.
My mom, it's funny because she was working mostly as a nurse for elderly homes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but she's also a creative. Like she's been in the choir. She likes to create clothes. And she also made this kind of transition between um, from being a nurse to having her own boutique, teaching in schools how to create clothes, selling her own clothes. So she's a creative as well.
That's really cool. So, I know you've been on tour with Camelot recently.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I'm going to see them in August, and I'm so, so excited because Camelot, even though the band was originated in Florida, they don't really tour states as much. It's more like a
Mm-hmm.
European kind of metal, so I'm super excited. Are you coming?
Yes.
You are coming?
Yeah, of course.
Are you see? Oh my God. Oh my God. My life is complete. I will never be the same. I'm so happy because my next question was like, come on, Melissa, when are we going to see you in the United States? Because again, what you do and that kind of metal is still a very European sound. It
Mm,
obviously has a lot of people, there are a lot of people in United States that love that kind of stuff, but oh my God, I am so this is such a discovery to me because it doesn't say when I bought a ticket, it doesn't say ad infinitum. Or maybe
No,
I
no.
just
So sorry. I come with Camelot as a guest singer, but unfortunately, Ad Infinitum is not coming with. Yeah.
I'm not happy anymore.
I'm
All
so
right, so
sorry.
then next question, when are we gonna see you in the States?
Well, I hope as soon as possible. We thought we had an opportunity this year. I mean, we are still coming this year to Prague Power, so
Mm-hmm.
that's better than nothing. But we were kind of hoping that we would add a few dates before or after, and in the end, it didn't happen. It's difficult for a new band because
Oh yeah.
we don't know how much we sell, and it's difficult you have to basically find a band that is willing to take you as a support band
Mm-hmm.
without knowing anything about your popularity there,
Mm-hmm.
because we've never been there. So it's I think the first time is going to be um difficult to find, but then as much as we can, we will come back.
Do you self-manage? Do you have like a team behind your band, or you guys just, figured all this out, all the logistics by yourself?
No, 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 no. We have a great team. We have management, booking in Europe, booking in
Okay,
North
okay, great.
America now, actually. So it should be easier to to
We're
come.
waiting, Melissa. We're waiting. So, as far as touring, tell me the best and the worst things about touring for you.
The best, I think it's oh wait, because I'm not sure. Because of course, because of course I love performing, and also I think one of my favorite things is like with Ad Infinitum, when we toured for the first time last year, we arrived on stage and we realized throughout the tour that there were a few people coming with our own shirts and singing our songs, and just also because it was the first time after the pandemic, we didn't know how many people were
Mm-hmm.
willing to see us, like to travel to see us live or to go to concerts. So the exchange with the people when you're on stage and you see them partying, you see them singing and all, I think that might be my favorite thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
What's the
that's,
worst
yeah.
thing?
The worst, the most difficult part for me is to adapt to new places every day. because
Mm-hmm.
I'm a creature of habits,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I like to have a routine and to be like to be home or to be in a
Yes.
place that I know or in an environment that I know. So for me, it's difficult to to get to a new place every day, and to where is the catering, where are the backstage, where is this, what's the schedule. So I think it's the uncertainty and the yeah, the surprises every day that are a little bit difficult for me to adapt. That's what drains me the most.
Mm-hmm. So as far as vocals, do you have certain exercises that you do to warm up, or you just kind of go and sing?
I usually warm up with the Lax box, the straw,
Uh-huh. That's
and
so
then
interesting. Yeah, I see a lot of
yeah.
people do that.
Hmm.
I have never done that. Okay. Anything?
Yeah, but the thing is, when you warm up with this, no, there's not much sound coming out of it. The
Yes.
the I love to warm up by singing some songs that I love, but the problem is it's always very difficult to find a place where nobody will hear you. And I'm
Can you do it
super
on the bus?
self-aware. Like I really don't like, oh shit, there's someone starting to mow the lawn. Is it very noisy?
Not really.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I can hear it, but it's not really that bad. No.
Okay, that's good. Um, I I love to warm up with songs that I love to sing and to go through the whole register and to browse and everything. But the problem is if I know that there's a lot of people around and they can all hear me, I hold back, and
You
then
hold back, yes.
yeah, it's not so good. So
You know, a lot of people still hear you sing, so
yeah,
when
you know.
you're- no, but I understand. I understand. I mean, when I warm up, I'm like, yeah, I don't want anybody to hear me. Plus, you're not really the best when you warm up because you're
No,
still
exactly.
warming up.
Yeah.
What do your parents think about new Melissa? Because, like you said, you were working at the office until like 2, 3 years ago, and all of a sudden now you're this rock star that rocking all these huge venues.
They're super proud. At first, they were a little bit scared because you leave a stable job with a stable situation to jump into the unknown. And at first, they were like, "Are you sure?" But still, they've always supported my music.
Oh, that
So,
loan! I can hear the loan. It's okay.
oh,
So
okay.
they're proud of you, but they were scared at first. Were they trying to talk you out of it?
No, not really. They were just like,
No?
"Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm sure." Okay. But they've always been supporting my music. They've always been, buying the albums, buying the shirts, coming. They came to a few shows as well. And funny enough, the last show we played in Switzerland, last year, actually, they the whole family came, like my parents, my brother, his girlfriend, my cousins, their children. It was so crazy. It's
That's
like,
awesome.
yeah, I think for them it's this crazy thing that they never saw coming.
I don't think you saw that coming because like you were working in the office and you were doing music on the side and then bam, it just
Yeah,
happened.
I think it's I mean, I would never have imagined this maybe 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but when I really started to enjoy music and enjoy playing and bringing a project to the next level,
Mm-hmm.
I never had like um a limit of where I wanted to go. I always thought
Mm-hmm.
I aim as far as I can and then I'll see where I end up.
How did you get funding at first? Was that difficult? For like the
um
first EP, the first, because your music videos, you are in your band, but your music videos are absolutely fantastic. And,
Thank you.
so how was that hard to find that kind of financial support?
We were super lucky because with Ad Infinitum, I started a crowdfunding campaign after I recorded 2 songs. So I financed the beginning of the band on my own, and then
Yo,
crowdfunding. Yeah,
yeah, I'm
that was
so
so
proud of you. I'm
crazy.
proud of you.
Oh, thank you. No, but that was so crazy because I started this crowdfunding campaign, and I didn't know if people would even want to participate because there was just one song out. I just made sure that there was a song out with video, and then people just supported so much. I was like, okay, so I can, pay for an album and for videos, and then we were super super lucky because Napalm signed the project. I mean, the
Yes.
band,
Yes.
the first album, and we also had some budget from Napalm for this.
Well,
And
then after
yeah,
Napalm, yeah, it's just like the very first song and the video you guys financed by yourself.
yeah,
Oh,
it was actually still only me and the band at that time.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What do your parents and your family think about growls?
My mom could live without.
What did
My
she say?
I don't really remember what she said, but I was practicing sometimes at home, and um, I thought that I was so discreet because I was going to the how's it called, this room where you do the laundry, and I had
Basement?
like, no, it was a special laundry room, whatever. And I
Okay.
had this box to that was supposed to reduce the sound, but I was
Mm-hmm.
still super loud, and I was doing it at night. So the morning after, I was like, "Did you hear?" And they're like, "Yes, we heard." My dad, I don't think he minds, and my my cousins, they're like trying to imitate, and they find it super funny. So
That
it's
is
fun.
so cool. Yeah, it's always interesting to break this down to parents, especially parents. Like my mom is a theater director, like classical theater director. So
Oh,
I
that's
sent
cool.
her I sent her some I sent her some Lorna Shore. I sent her Arch Enemy just to kind of introduce her to growls. And she's
Okay.
like, but she does like Epica. She does like Epica. And she does like
That's
your
good.
band too.
Oh, nice.
All right, so we are on the outskirts of our 30 minutes. So tell everyone about your plans, upcoming projects, upcoming videos, upcoming songs, upcoming tours, and everything you want them to know.
Yeah, sure. So we have a summer that is pretty full with both Ad Infinitum, The Dark Side of the Moon, Camelot. With Ad Infinitum, we have a few support shows with Arch Enemy, which is super cool. In Extremo, we
Awesome.
have festivals. Dark Side of the Moon, also festivals. And then the tour North America with Camelot. First time for me touring North America, so I'm super excited. The guys were like, "You will love it." I was like, "Okay, can't wait."
You will love it. Tell me really quick about the Dark Side of the Moon. So, because you have like three projects,
Two.
two. Okay. What about Fire Schwartz?
Oh, I'm just tagging along whenever we play the same places.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So the Dark Side of the Moon, how did that form?
So Hans from Feuerschwanz and I made a bet because, like I said, I've done a few collaborations with Feuerschwanz. The first one was Ding. Um, we filmed a music video after we recorded the song, so that's how I met everyone in the band, and really love everyone, and we stayed in contact, and after this, Ding and Unstoppable from Ad Infinitum were about to hit the million views on YouTube, and I write to Hans super random, like, I don't know, it's just very spontaneous message, like, "Hey, we're about to hit the million. The first one who does wins." And he's like, "Wins what?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he says, "A dare, like, I dare you to do this or that."
Okay.
And Ding from Feuerschwanz reaches the million first, and he's like, "Okay, the thing you have to do because you lost is recording a Game of Thrones cover with me." And I'm like, "Sure, okay, that sounds like fun." And then I think he showed it to Feuerschwanz management or team or whoever, who showed it to Napalm. And Napalm was like, "Oh, this is super cool. How about you make an entire album of this?" And we're like, "Okay, that's fun. So let's do it."
You do a lot of stuff because every time I open my laptop, it's like oh, Melissa has a new thing. Oh, Melissa
Oh,
has a new video. And I'm like, I feel like you do like new video, new song like every few weeks. It's kind of like, I don't know, maybe I look at it like this, but like every time it's my live stream, they're like, oh, have you checked that out? I'm like, what does this woman sleep? Like, what is happening?
the fun thing is I'm trying to slow down a little, but sometimes I record some stuff and then I record another thing, and they happen to be released at the same time as also a song from Ad Infinitum or Dark Side of the Moon. And then it's like, oh, okay, I have for 2 months, I have a release every second week, and I'm like, I promise you that's there's just one more, and then it's fine. Then you can forget about me a little.
No, I don't want to forget about you. I love you. All right. So I'm so happy that we're gonna see you soon in United States of America. I'm
Me
gonna be there. I'm gonna
too.
be there first with the t-shirts and everything. So thank you so much for doing this. I kept you a little bit late, 6 minutes late, so sorry about that.
Don't worry about it.
You kind of gave me hope in life because I don't have a job. I work for myself, so that's kind of good too. But I do music. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting too old, but like I'm not getting too old. I'm still young.
No,
I still can
this
do
is
that.
also something that I'm so annoyed at, this concept of, oh, you have to
I
make it
I
in your
feel like it's in my
20s.
head. Yes, yes.
But I have the same. Honestly, for the longest time, I was like, by the time I'm that age, I should be there. And it's just so stupid.
It is, but it's still kind of like in the
I
back of
know,
your mind.
I
Yeah.
know.
But you definitely gave me hope in life. Not that I didn't have hope in life, but I'm saying but it's also metal. You don't it's not like pop, like bubble pop, music. Like you don't
Yeah,
have to be 16 to you really I feel like it's even better to be a little bit older in metal than like
I I think it's I don't know if it depends on the age, but I think the older you get, the more experience you have, the more you know yourself, the more you know people, the more you know people you can work with. And then in the end, it results in a better music, product, video, whatever, because you met a lot of people along the way. So I don't know. A lot of times I was like, oh, what if I was there, but maybe 10 years ago? But 10 years ago, I didn't even know myself. So I don't know.
yes. Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for everything. I had so much
Yes,
fun.
me too.
Everybody was telling me, "Oh my God, Melissa is such a sweetheart. Melissa, and like you're so sweet. Like I slept like 2 hours today because of the time difference, but
No.
like it's fine. I go to sleep very late. Like I'm a night person. I go to sleep at like 4 in the morning,
Yeah, same
so that's
here.
fine. Oh yeah, yeah, and like you are definitely a sweetheart. You're like a ray of light.
But so are you.
So thank you so much for doing this.